Hey C.M.R kids, have you ever made a decision that ended up being a huge mistake? You ever fought with your brother and sister? I know I have. Today's Bible story, we're going to learn about two brothers who almost killed themselves because of one brother's bad mistake. Today's class can be found in Genesis 25, verses 24 to 34. Also in Genesis 27, verse 1 to 43. We're introduced to two brothers. One is called Esau and the second one is called Jacob. Now, Esau and Jacob had a dad named Isaac. And Isaac favored Esau over Jacob because Esau can hunt, was good looking, great at sports, and an all-around great dude. Now, the mother of these two boys was Rebecca, and Rebecca loved Jacob because he loved to be at home and he loved to cook. One day, Esau came from hunting, and Esau was real tired. And not only was he tired, but he was real hungry. And guess who was cooking? His brother Jacob. Brother, I've just come from hunting. I have no energy to cook. Make me a meal. Brother! Here comes this dude again. Always hungry. This dude is so hungry. I mean, if I told him to give me all his money for this plate of food, he'd actually do it. Jacob thought of a plan to trick Esau into giving him his birthright. Now, what is the birthright? I'll let Dr. Ralph explain. Ah, yes, inheritance. From the root word inheritance, which means that the older sibling would get not only the riches, but the position, a high position in the land. This was usually given to only the older siblings, meaning the older brothers, the firstborns, if you will. So, not only was being an older sibling such an important thing back in those times, but the older sibling would usually always get the father's blessing, which meant that you would get not only money, but you would get land, you would get position, and you would get the blessing that only came from God. Now, technically, Esau and Jacob were actually twin brothers, but Esau came out before Jacob, which means that Esau was going to get the blessing from his father. But Jacob really wanted that blessing, so he thought of a plan to steal it from his brother. So one day when Esau came tired from hunting, he told Esau, I'll give you food if you give me your birthright. And Esau said, no way. I know the importance of my inheritance and my birthright. Psych. He sold it. He literally just gave it to his brother for a plate of food.
Esau, is that you? Esau, my oldest son.
So months and years pass, and Isaac, he's old, and he's about to die. And he wants to give his blessing to his older son Esau. So he calls Esau, and he tells him, Esau, I want you to go hunt an animal, cook it, and then feed me a meal. And when you come back, you'll get your blessing. Now, remember what I told you guys earlier. Rebecca loved Jacob, and she wanted Jacob to get the blessing. So what did she do? She cooked up a stew, disguised Jacob as Esau, and sent him in to get the blessing. Now, their plan only worked because Isaac, their dad, was old and he was blind. So when Jacob came inside disguised as Esau, Isaac touched him, and Esau was hairy, so he thought that he was blessing and touching Esau, but in reality, it was Jacob in disguise. When Esau came back from hunting and cooking his dad's meal, he found out what Jacob had done. He had tricked him. He had gotten his blessing. Now, we remember that Esau sold it to him for a plate of food, but now the dad had given Jacob, thinking it was Esau, the blessing. So now it was permanent. You couldn't undo that. Esau was pretty mad. Mad to the point where he wanted to basically kill Jacob. And Jacob was scared. So what did he do? He ran away. C.M.R. kids, so what can we learn about today's story? We saw Jacob tricking his brother to get the blessing. We saw Esau selling his birthright for a plate of food. And we saw two parents who favored one child over the other. Bad decisions, bad decisions, bad decisions. But even amongst those bad decisions, God still forgives us. I've made bad decisions. I'm pretty sure you've made bad decisions. But always know that you can come to God because He loves you and He forgives you. So the important thing, guys, is that we learn from our mistakes so that we don't do them again. And when you do feel like you've made a bad decision that feels like it's permanent, always, always come to God. Because, like I said, He loves you and He forgives you. Alright, guys. Thanks for joining me in Learning with Ralph.